All right, fellas, we are back. Week 2 of True Sons brought to you by the Players Lounge. Once again, we are extremely happy and just proud of this partnership. It's been awesome. And once again, I get to connect with my fellas, man. So this is great. Let's talk about Mizzou football. Let's talk about how we look Thursday night. Let's talk about the week to come, our next opponent. Give me some likes. First off, give me your overview, quick hot take on how we looked versus Murray State.
Man, I think offensively, I thought it was okay. I thought it was solid, right? I thought that, well, first of all, I love the new dynamic of Noel and Curl, the two running backs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they feed off each other really, really well. Um, kind of thunder and lightning, but Curl got a little shiftiness to him too, which I really
It
like.
does.
I thought both of those guys, I think both of those guys will have big, big roles. We started off a game, Luke threw the ball the first play of the game, which is warranted. They're going to continue to find different ways to get him the ball. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though. I will say offensively, I feel like we're a little shaky or a little, just kind of the first game jitters. We've all played football. We know how it is going out there the first game of the season, especially offensively, right? Some things, timing things, and kind of sometimes plays don't go how they went in practice. I
Yeah.
always say that the defense is always kind of the first to kind of get things going sometimes. Um, but Brady missed a couple guys deep, missed Luther deep 2 or 3 times, missed Johnson deep a couple times. So I feel like we didn't quite get into the rhythm of the passing game. Um, but you still saw some good things. You saw a bunch of different receivers catch passes. You saw two, like I said, two running backs and even some other guys come in and have successful runs. Um, and I thought the offensive line did fairly well too. I thought they
Yeah,
pass
yeah, they
protected
held
really
up.
well. Still some of the same glimpses of the run game, stretch, different ways to kind of get the ball on the perimeter, kind of off tackle downhill. Um, but yeah, I thought it was okay. I think they're gonna go back and make some corrections, but I just thought offensively we were just okay.
Before I get to you, Sport, I gotta say, Mac, your prediction was pretty good now.
Hey,
What did you
listen,
say? 51-0.
I was gonna say 52 to 10 at first, and I was like, you know what? Let me give Murray State a little more credit.
You gave me that. But you could have stayed silent with the 51-0 is right on. Spoon, talk to me about defense, man. What'd you see? What'd you like? Where can we take it?
So my thoughts on the defense was pretty much what I expected. Going out against Murray State, you should go out and be dominant.
Yeah.
The one big thing that I wanted to see was would we tackle well? We tackled great. I didn't see any missed tackles. I didn't see any explosive pass plays or explosive runs. Those are things that you can hang your hat on to kind of you kind of see like we're in midseason form already from the standpoint of what our identity is. And
Mm-hmm.
we got pressure on the quarterback, got a couple sacks. The Jacobs kid that transferred in with Coach Batum. He ended up, smelling like a rose, getting the quarterback when he tried to escape to the left over there, and that was a big play. And then Toriano Pride getting the pick six was definitely, a play that put us in position to establish our dominance. And anytime you score on defense, the odds of you winning the game just go up,
Oh yeah.
substantially. So I was truly proud of him. Saw a lot of players making plays. One player that caught my eye, man, and this is key for me, knowing about the portal. A guy named Corey Flagg.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, man, I saw some speed coming from that linebacker
Yeah.
position when he was in the game. Didn't get in till later in the game, but he was excited. Reminds me of the style of play that I was accustomed to playing at Missouri. He was running things down, and he had that excitement, kind of bringing that swag over from the U, as they like to say. So ultimately, it was a great performance. The game ball goes to Coach Batum for me. No explosives, no missed tackles, no score. Shoot, you can't beat that.
Man,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I don't know if this is honestly I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody said we're the only team in the country to hold their opponent under 100 total yards of offense. So I don't know if
Really?
I don't know if it's true or
I'm
not, but
not
I
mad
saw
at
that
that.
today I
But
saw
like
that today. Yeah.
saying, like with no big plays, I'm thinking back on I think this is my senior year at Mizzou, and it might have been game one. I don't think it was like against Murray State, but the game is slow. We blowing them out. I'm getting antsy, and I bit hard on a like halfback toss pass, and
Oh,
but you talk about explosive plays. You know what I mean? And it's one way to limit them, even because teams like that are gonna come out while they can. They know they're underdogs. Let's
Yeah.
let's trick play, just try whatever we can, man, to get some points on the board, to get some type of excitement on our sideline. And we did a good job of not allowing that. Mac, you mentioned, uh, Brady Cook in the deep ball. I remember hearing the commentator talk about trying to get him into a rhythm. And talk to
Mm-hmm.
me about that, like the mind of a quarterback, the mind of a receiver on having some early success with the down the field throws and how that can kind of set the stage for the rest of the season.
Yeah. No, so right now on a much on a smaller scale, right? But even right now, I coach high school football, so I got a quarterback that can sling the football. So my big thing, I'm always cautious of like, hey, get him in a rhythm early, get him in a rhythm early. So uh, I was able to do that this past game. He threw for 430. So
Whew.
it's all about yes, it's all about
Hey,
getting a
hey,
feel
what's
of the
this kid's
game.
name, Mac? People
Yeah.
need to know now.
Give him a shot.
Going to college for baseball, going to college for
Oh, okay.
baseball. Um, but it's all about just like you said, just getting in the rhythm early. And I thought, um, I don't know, I just feel like offensively in the past game, I just feel like we didn't quite settle down.
Mhm.
And I'm not holding too much stock into it. Like first game of the season, man, first game jitters,
Yeah.
playing at home, hometown, all these expectations, right? Who knows what was going on, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I just thought that, we were just a little off, but you can see how well Kirby dials it up and picks his spots because it wasn't that people weren't open.
Mhm.
Just fingertip here. One time the ball went out of bounds. It was a PI one time on Luther. Um,
Would have been a touchdown.
another
Yeah.
one that could have been, yeah. So
Mhm.
they were there. We just didn't connect.
Yeah.
So I want to see that next week kind of going forward. And honestly, probably a good thing for us. We'll be heavily favored again next week against Buffalo.
Yeah.
So we'll have an opportunity to hopefully work on some of the down the field stuff and
Yeah.
get them in a rhythm early and then play action, take your shots. Because we're going to be able to run the football again.
So I'm gonna stay with you, but kind of segue into the defense too with a question. As a defensive player, as like a defensive coordinator, I'm not looking to let Luther beat me all season. Like I can't imagine going to a game saying, "Yeah, we're gonna let Luther and Cook do what they do and stop everybody else." No, because you'll
Yeah.
lose the game. You know what I mean? So how much stock do you put in 3 catches for Luther early on? Is this what we're gonna
Yeah.
see the rest of the year with teams just making sure he's not the guy that beats you?
No, because like I said, he had opportunities this past week to make catches. PI missed
Yeah,
hit there, missed there. Um, he they're going to put him in position to get the ball. They don't care if they got to hand it to him. They're going to get him the rock because that's how special he is with the ball in his hand.
yeah,
Like I said earlier, man, it was really cool to see, Theo get touches. Mookie had a nice catch.
mm-hmm.
Joshua Manning, like I said, had a
Yep,
couple catches. Miller had a catch. So they're deep, and they're even deeper than that, right? There's a freshman Madison who I like as well.
mm-hmm.
So they are deep. So yeah, there's going to be games where I feel like teams are going to key in on Luther, but they
Yeah,
move him around so much, they so much motion, and it's not like I said last week. I think Theo's going to play on Sundays. I think he's good enough to
yeah,
play on Sundays. Um,
definitely.
in what capacity is to be seen, but it's not like it's just Luther and nobody else, right?
That's true.
They have a
That's
stable of receivers that can make plays, a nice tight end room. Like I said, the two running backs I really like.
mm-hmm.
Any D coordinator, Spoon, you can attest to this, right? Yeah, you used to talk about all the time in the Falcons, right? Key players, here's their players, right? You got them circled, right? Of course, he's gonna be circled each and every week.
Yeah.
Now, trying to limit him, I get it, but I think they got other guys that can beat you this year.
So that's what I'm asking. So like Spoon, what you saw from our defense, do you think this is a defense that's going to be able to travel well if we go down and we're facing a team that has a guy? Are we built to stop a guy? Or are we more of a hope? We're a defense by committee. You know what I mean? We're gonna stop the run and we're gonna defend we're gonna be aggressive on the pass. You know what I mean? Like what is our identity going to be? What can you foresee?
Well, right now, just based on what I saw in the first game, I saw a very balanced defensive attack. And when you can tackle well and you don't make mental errors, that's going to be a defense that, toward the end of the year, that defense is going to be winning some games for you in the SEC. So I think your defense becomes a weapon when you have the identity of we don't make mistakes and we're sound tackling. If we
Yeah,
can go out there every week and make sure we do that, that's going to be something it's going to bode well for the Tigers. I think the only tough part about it for the offense as well is they're still in training camp mode. They're playing teams. They're not playing USC versus LSU tonight. They're not jumping off the porch Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. And in today's climate, you can do that in college football and not be punished because I think now like you say, you win your division, you win your conference,
You're
you're
good.
in great shape. When we were in college, you lose a game, you want to put a rifle,
It's
you want to put a gun to you. Ain't want to go out. You don't even want to step out the house. Your
yeah.
dreams are over. So
It's over. Yeah.
it's a different climate. But from what I saw from the defense, it's a mentality is what it seemed instead of like a personality. I saw those guys geared up, ready to go, scoring on defense, not giving away explosives.
Yeah.
These are things that you just don't expect in the first game of the year. I don't care who you playing,
That's true.
but Buffalo. When I think of Buffalo, I know that they're going to be running the football.
Yes.
Buffalo has a dual threat quarterback. I think he was their leading rusher last year, CJ Agbana. He passed the ball a little bit, 14 for 24, passing the ball pretty great.
Decent.
Not
Yeah.
pretty great, pretty good against Lafayette the other night.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're going to come in here and try to hand that football off, and it's another chance for Missouri to go out there and stop that run right away, tackle well, and discourage their offense and give our offense opportunities to continue to get those shots, continue to get their rhythm on offense. We know we're going to run the ball, like Max said.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely got to get the quarterback looking like the other quarterbacks in the SEC because these guys were throwing the ball 15 times. We threw the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
So we're at kind of in that okay, let's see if we can find it. But I understand that because you're going against an opponent who probably won't pose you too much trouble.
No.
But I probably would have got those guys out of the game a little after 28-0 first quarter. I'm chilling right now. We're gonna
So
get
I'm
these boys
watching
to the
the
next one.
game and I'm like, I still see Cook. Like,
You want to look good. We want to look good. We
Yeah,
want to put it
I
on
think
display. We got
I
all the
that, but that's
toys.
one of those.
oh,
Listen, that's one of those things, man, where it like I it, if you're not looking as sharp as you want, right? Okay, let's see it a little bit more, right? Let's see if we
Yeah.
can kind of dig ourselves out of
long
this hole a little
season
bit.
though. It's a long season.
It is.
What
But
if
here's the deal.
you
But
roll?
here's the deal, though.
I mean, he's hurt. What? How do you?
Oh, that. But here's the deal, though. You can't think like that. You can't because listen, though, as a coach, that's a dangerous game when you start thinking
Woo.
like, "Oh, is he gonna get hurt if I like?" You can't
So
think
what do
like
you what
that.
do you do? You throw caution to the
You
wind and just then keep playing
no,
ball
because here's the deal. I think what was it, 35 nothing at halftime? 35 nothing at
in
halftime.
that range. Yeah.
Like I think it's 35 nothing at halftime. If I'm a coach, I'm up 35 nothing at halftime. I come out. We hadn't thrown the ball as well as I would like. Okay, hey, like, two series here. I want to see if we can change the tide a little bit. I'm gonna keep throwing it. I'm gonna keep picking my spots, trying to get him in the rhythm, trying to see if we can kind of change, kind of the really the landscape of what it was looking like in the passing game.
But
So
Matt, to me, they look good though. They like you
yeah.
said, it was just a little bit of time in here, a little bit like the
Yeah,
plays were there. They just didn't connect. That's all
yeah,
the more
and
reason for
that's
me to say, let
and
me
and
get my
that's
guys out the game because
That's
I
all I
know
need
who
to
these
see.
guys are.
I'm with you, but at the end of the day, you cannot simulate game speed. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay.
you can go through practice. You can say, hey, we can hit them in practice as in third, but like it's still different than game speed. So yeah, it was close. They're there. That's why you don't panic. But you
Okay.
like, dang, like I would have loved to hit one or two of those.
Yeah.
You know?
So okay, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper in that because you coach as well. So you don't hit one or two of those. My
Mhm.
thought process is all right. You let it go because I also don't want to tip my hand. How much am I showing
Yeah,
on film? Like it's
yeah, no, no.
I show that game too.
Listen, Kobe's super smart,
Okay.
right? There are times, especially when you play teams like that, where I might put something on film on purpose, right?
Mm,
Because I know that I have something off of what you're about to see on film.
okay.
Or
Okay.
I may not never come back to this play or this formation. I don't really like it. It's just trial and error.
Yeah.
But I put it on film just so you have to spend the extra 5 to 10 minutes to prepare for it, right?
Okay.
Then it
Okay.
becomes a mind game. But honestly, man, a lot of Mizzou shots are posts. It's just where it's
Yeah.
coming from. Like
Okay.
so, like it's a post or a crosser somewhere, right?
Hmm.
That's a lot of their down the field shots. Now there's some other stuff built into it. There's a old school Seattle route or Detroit route, whatever you want to call it. There's
Hmm.
post corners, things like that. But a lot of their shots it's
You
post
get what you're gonna
and
get.
over, post and cross. Like it's coming from somewhere. It might come from slot,
Yeah,
backside
That's
Z. It
what's
might come from X and H. Like it's coming from somewhere.
that's the scary part about the offense.
yeah.
It's not resemblant. It doesn't resemble what I played with at Missouri. Like I
No,
love Luther. They're stretching the field trying. We were just getting the ball in Macklin's hand.
that's true.
Yeah,
When the ball got in his hand, it was electric,
Right.
and I think that's what the SEC is. It's my dog, your dog. We can draw up the big shots, all that, boom, boom, boom. It's going to be
My
a
dog
lot of
better
determining
than
factors that can mess those plays up. But just getting the ball to the athletes, that's what I want to see us just do that a little bit more efficiently.
which
Just like,
that's Luther's money. That's how they like
yeah, yeah.
behind the line of scrimmage into the flat, jet sweep, right? Shallow, like that's his money. Bubble screens. That's where he
That's
makes a lot
true.
of his
That's
money
true.
at.
So suppose same question, like as a D coordinator or a defensive player, how much am I showing opposing teams about what I'm doing? Some of my wrinkles here and there. What am I tipping my hand to? Or am I being conservative? Like we were there, it was we're gonna be covered two.
man, if I'm playing against Murray State and I know I don't have to do what I would have to do against the SEC team, you're not going to see none of it. I'm just going out here. We lining up and
We're
I,
gonna,
I, I'm treated like a coaching clinic. I want to see clinic tape. I want to see the run being
Yep.
fitted up. I
yeah,
want to see the two shell taking care of the business. I want to see the corner stand on top if they're in cover three. If we're blitzing, I want to see tight coverage on the outside, like I saw in Notre Dame the other night. That was very impressive against A&M. I
yeah.
want to see those type of. I want to see traits as opposed to what our scheme is, this, that, and the
Okay.
third. I want to just see us being, physical. If we
Yeah.
out there being physical, then other teams looking at you like, man, hey, Missouri, hey, they running. And when I saw Flag from Miami get on the field
Mm-hmm.
in that second half, he showed me everything that I want them Tigers to be, bro. He was running, man. You got to go back and watch them plays. This
Running.
kid was flying. My brother came out the he said, "Oh, what's that?" I said, "Yeah," and we linebackers, so that's how we are all the time. But when
Yeah.
we saw it, I was like, "Yo, that's the type of stuff you want to see on the defense." And you saw that. You saw, Pride Junior. He didn't get no space. That boy was going
No.
to get his.
Yeah, he was.
He's back in Missouri, back in the Midwest. It was impressive to see those guys play the way they played on defense. And like I keep going back to the non-explosives because that's going to be big for us this week. I don't think Buffalo had any explosive. They may have had three explosive passes. That's it. No explosive runs against Lafayette. They're going to be methodical. They're going to try to hand it off, and we're going to have to be physical and show that we're here for it. And I think that's what we'll see out of the Batoons group.
I mean, you mentioned tackling, and I personally feel like tackling. The more we play and we see the game evolve, tackling is becoming a lost art, and it can be when in big time games that can be the difference. Like how well are you tackling? You know what I mean? You talking about going from 3 yard gain to 5 or 6 yard gain. You know what I mean? And for us to tackle what we did Thursday night, that does give you hope. Now it's Murray State. It's one thing to tackle
Yeah.
their backs or to limit their receivers to a catch and get them down than to somebody like Ole Miss who's going to put up 78 points on somebody. You know what I mean? Which is
Oh my goodness.
crazy. But it's a little bit different. But I think you do build off that. And I think you come back in the locker room, you come back in the film session, you say, hey, look, this is what we did well. And tackling has to be on there. You can't, as a coach, if I'm not praising my kids for it, then it does become a lost art in your own room. You know,
Yeah.
I know Spoon, you didn't have any issues tackling. It's something like that for myself who did have an issue tackling. Me to hear every day that you're proud of me. You know what I mean? How he tackles. You know what I mean?
Man, hey, that's like you said, bro. It's so key. And when I think about how Missouri advanced from last year just to this point, losing Coach Baker to LSU was a huge blow to us. And with Coach Batoon coming in and that defense looking the way it looked,
Mm-hmm.
getting turnovers, getting sacks, tackling well, man, I'm excited about this group.
So, any areas of improvement on both sides of the ball?
I mean, yeah. I mean, for, I've already stated mine, right? I just a little. I want to be able to hit those plays. I want to be a little more because it wasn't just the deep ball. It was the intermediate routes. It was the.
Yeah,
I think it was just a little sporadic. That's all. And like I said, I'm not. Brady's proven that he's the guy. He's proven that he is a top half quarterback in the SEC. I'm not worried
Hmm.
about it.
easy.
I just want to see it. Right? I want to see it
Yeah,
because I do
yeah,
think that when you get into the nuts and bolts of the schedule,
Hmm.
when you get inside SEC play, right, you got to be efficient, right?
yeah.
Efficient. Like
So, Matt,
I'm
good
I'm
point though.
big on being efficient.
you brought up a good point. You said you cannot simulate game reps. It's always different in game reps.
Yes.
We have we've got the schedule of being, is it difficult? You go Murray State, you go Buffalo. Who
Mhm.
is benefiting from this? I'm not saying
I,
it's like practice, but it's not like
yeah.
playing an SEC either.
Well, so I think ours just happened to come at the beginning of the season. Like you
Right?
remember when Bama for the longest they be playing, and all of a sudden they play like what is it, Citadel?
Mhm.
Like is it Citadel? That's how you pronounce it?
Very interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Weird.
like week 10, right? Like
Yep.
it just yeah, ours just happened to happen like back to back. I do
Okay,
think Boston College is going to be a challenge, right?
that's
I
Most
do.
definitely.
You know what I mean? And then we get it rolling, right? Like once again, like there's no easy schedule in the SEC, right? You saw Vandy beat Virginia Tech, who was a dark horse to win the ACC this year,
yeah,
right?
Man, that was one of my
It's
dark horses.
yeah,
21 returning starters on the team.
that's what,
yeah. That
dude,
doesn't happen. That doesn't happen in today's college
exactly.
football.
So I think yeah, it's would I have loved to have had one of these LSU, USC, Notre Dame, Texas? Like, yeah, of course. But like, I also understand why like you wouldn't, or why a university wouldn't schedule it. I don't know if that's what they did. I'm just saying, I
Mhm.
would love to have seen a Georgia, a Mizzou, Clemson to start the season, right? I would
Yeah.
love to have seen that. Yeah,
So Spoon, on defense, are you confident that the things you did well versus Murray State can take you through the season?
They'll take
It's
us through
one thing
this week.
to tackle Luther Burden and have to chase him down. It's another thing to tackle a guy who most likely won't play on Sundays. They're different type of players, different expectations, different skill sets. One is going to be harder to tackle. One's going to be harder to scheme to stop.
Oh yeah, you got to change up your diet when you're going against SEC type of talent. You just
Mhm.
can't go to the dining hall and go to the Maxi Center and get your little Szechuan sauce on your your
No, no,
your, your
no.
little pasta and think that's gonna be what you need. You're gonna have to go to Longhorn. You're gonna have to go to the steakhouse and sit down and get some
Yeah.
potatoes, get some meat.
Go
Because the
to
SEC
the
is
burner,
coming
man.
at you, bro. The
Yeah.
SEC is serious. When I watched those highlights yesterday, seeing how many teams score 70 points in this conference, how many teams blow people out by 60 in this conference,
That's,
this is going to be one of the best college football seasons we've ever seen, and the
that's
SEC is going
different.
to be right at the head of it, man. It's going to be sick. But I think going into this Buffalo game, you do
Mhm.
just want to see you just want to see that growth. You want to see the
Okay.
growth. Like these guys going to be harder to tackle this week than
Yeah.
what Murray State was.
yeah,
So we want to see the
yeah.
same type of thing. And then, like you said, going into Boston College, having to play them, having to go on the road to play a UMass team, it's going to get tougher. But at the end of the day, you want to see those same things translate. And if they do, you just keep working, keep working. You can't come in there tomorrow and say, "Oh, everything we did was great." You got to find something to be upset about. If you coach Batum, to be
Mhm.
honest, you got to find something to be upset about. Maybe it was one run fit that we didn't fit up right, but you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
hark on it. You hark on it. And you tell the truth about where we are. And I think that's going to help you when you look at moving forward.
So I think one value of playing, the non-conference schedule or the smaller schools is that it's a long season. It's inevitable. You're going to have injuries, and now you have backups who are going to get some game action. So
Hmm.
now when the name is called Saturday afternoon and we're playing against Bama, I may not be as shell shocked because I've seen it before. I know that I can play on this level, and it's not just what I've gotten from practice and my coaches tell me that I'm great. No, I got to have some time versus Murray State. I played versus Buffalo. I might see some action versus Boston College, and if I do well, maybe I'm in a rotation now, right? And that just makes it a little bit stronger. That's my position when you talk about playing a
Yeah.
quote unquote weaker non-conference schedule. You get to have guys. I'm a guy who during that time will get the trash minutes, but then somebody gets hurt in the Big 12 championship game, and now my name is called. Now my little shell shock, yes, a little bit, but I've also seen some game time. You know what I mean, so at least I know I.
Hey,
Hey,
one thing about those type of games too, and it goes back to the Murray State game because that cornerback Reed was playing some pretty inspiring football out there. I know he
yeah,
even had an injury, still got up, making some tackles,
mhm.
making some plays on the ball. You always meet some guys at those schools.
You
I
do.
think about the times when we played Nevada comes into Mizzou. Guy by the name of Colin Kaepernick is out there running up and down the field. We scored 70 points, still couldn't stop him.
Yeah,
And later in the year, I bet it wasn't no dual threat quarterbacks running around on Missouri.
that's
So those reps that you get in the beginning of the year are huge. There was another guy, James Starks, played running back at Buffalo.
uh huh.
Man, Buffalo, they played the heck out of us. I think that was might have been your first year playing, Mac. We played Buffalo, I think, at home, or
Yeah,
maybe
Second year,
your,
second year.
your
Yeah, yeah.
last year there.
yeah,
It was
But
42-21. Yeah, we didn't
but
blow.
you
It was competitive. Yeah,
that was a
yeah,
Super Bowl running back, James Starks over there running that
yeah.
ball, man. It was some things that prepared us down the road that we took from those games early on that I think they're going to be able to take from the games that they're having right now as well.
I think there's a misconception with the I would say the average fan, and they don't understand like even Murray State how talented of a roster that roster is. Yeah,
that's true.
when you compare it to an SEC roster, yes, of course. There are some guys on Murray State who are going to play in the NFL. Like,
Mhm.
No doubt.
and people don't always quite understand that piece of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, there's really good football players at a lot of different, like in almost every school that you can
that's
think
true.
of, right?
But there's a
Yeah,
guy at Murray State that's going to probably transfer somewhere next year and be a guy. Like
yeah,
the think about the Cody Schraders type of thing. Like somebody sitting somewhere who can ball. Maybe
absolutely.
the numbers game didn't play in that man's favor um, during recruiting out of high school, but his shot is going to come. It's going to come.
Yep.
So we got Buffalo as our next opponent. We've already talked about what we want to see, what we want to do well. Are we still? I want to hear it again. I might have to ask this every episode. After what we saw, what are our predictions for the record for the year? We
Oh,
say
we didn't
We're
do
going
record
to
predictions last year. You the only one that said
I
we're
took
gonna go
10 wins.
undefeated.
That was my I took 10 wins out of the 12 games.
I
I
just
took 10 wins.
I said my three key games, man. You know, I would love to play for the SEC championship.
ooh.
Like I would love whatever that looks like. I would love for that to be.
Look,
Now,
last
in
year,
order to do that, you know what we have to do. Who do we
yeah,
have to beat?
last year
Right?
I thought we were in a good position to if we like losing to Georgia, that means you don't play in that game. But I think it's also
Yeah,
good because now you just
yeah,
let everybody else lose.
yeah. Which, like I said, I think with this schedule right now, 10-2, even if you don't go to the SEC championship game, I think you're still in the college football playoffs, right? Yeah, absolutely. We
10-2,
were 10-2 last year, and we would have been in
10
the
to 2.
playoffs.
but we played against. You got LSU, you have Georgia,
That's fine.
you got
Okay.
Kentucky at the time
That
when we played them. You got
here's the deal though. We listen. We play Oklahoma. We play Alabama. We play Texas A&M. Right. We play Georgia. No, we play Georgia. No, we don't play Georgia
no.
this year, do
No, we don't got them this
we?
year. We don't got Georgia
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
while.
But like I'm just saying. So yeah, like it's still like I said, it's still a gauntlet, man.
I hear you.
It's a gauntlet. Like we each and every SEC schedule is a gauntlet, bro. Like we sitting up here and I like what I saw out of Auburn this past week,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So like that freshman receiver, like first of all, it's a bunch of freshman receivers around the country that are playing
Win.
like grown men, which
Crazy.
is
These
wild.
Yeah.
kids are
But
these
like,
kids are
you know what I
wild.
mean? Like so,
You're from
who
Bama, yeah.
knows what it's gonna be like? But hey, this ain't no
That's true.
cakewalk, man.
That's true.
It's
Like
not no cakewalk.
I think a lot of teams last year, you play Mizzou, you lose to Mizzou, but then as the season goes on, you say, "Oh, Mizzou's nice." So now your strength of schedule, in my opinion, should increase because you lost to a team that
Yeah,
went have 10 plus win season. You know what I mean? So that means you played a dog at the time when they ranked, maybe not. So I think that's what I'm hoping for. I know that's one thing we do get from SEC ball is that the rankings will fluctuate. Somebody's going to come out and be nice, like you said. Is Auburn going to be a team that people have to plan for now? Do they crack the rankings? Even teams like Kentucky, do those teams cracking out? That just makes your strength of schedule, in my opinion, a little bit harder. That's what I'm hoping happens, and I know it generally happens in that conference.
One thing that's interesting when I think about the whole grand scheme of it, how the season could play out.
Mhm.
Last year there was a time for Missouri where in the beginning of the season, you kind of right where you are right now, thinking, okay, how we look okay, we might be able to make something shake. Then it became a point where after that Georgia game, and even going into that game for us, we're homers. We thought
Yeah,
we could win that game,
yeah,
but seeing them play that game, I don't care who they put in front of us.
that's true.
At that point in the season, it's like we could beat anybody. Right now, it kind of seems like, okay, it's a lot of heat out there right now in college football, and we really don't know where we are just yet. But there'll be a time in this season where we go play that Alabama on the road and Oklahoma has to come to us. It'll be those defining games that will give us, that real confirmation on can we win the division? Can we win our conference? Can we actually be a team that maybe slid under the radar, missed the conference championship game, but still be
Yeah.
seeded,
Yeah.
within 5 to 12, So
Uh-huh.
it's gonna be very interesting, man. But it's just truly exciting because this is something that I didn't know college football was gonna jump to 12, team playoff as quick
Right.
as it did, but
Yeah.
it's very exciting, man. I saw Herb Street talk about it. Man, I got
Yeah.
chill bumps, man, just listening to
Listen,
Herb Street talk about how
I I hope that because I wanted it last year. I feel like if there was ever going to be a 12-team tournament, last year would have been the year because there was so many. I mean, you had
Yeah.
Penn State sitting at 10-2.
Yeah.
Like you had
Yeah.
so many different teams, right?
Mhm.
Like I hope that this year gives us that same type of
yeah,
Yeah.
like good from the top 16 teams last year that were like
That were
had
good.
an argument. You know what I mean? So like I
Uh-huh.
hope it gives us that type of feel this year.
All right. So before we go, score predictions then for Buffalo and Mizzou.
Mhm. Let
Man,
me get it first, Mac. Let me get it
go
first.
ahead.
Go ahead,
We
go
got
go
to
go.
get two shutouts back to back. Them the only scores I care about. Mac, you can talk about the offense. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Two
Long as
shutouts.
we got that goose
Two
egg over there,
shutouts.
which I think we can actually do,
Yeah.
that's gonna be good. But I'll say we should put up another 50 ball. So I'll go
Okay.
50. I'll go 52 nil.
52
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah, 52
Okay.
nil. Mhm.
What you got, Mac?
I'm going to go 49-10, right? I think offensively, I think we connect on a couple of deep touchdowns. And I'm
Got to
going to go
see it.
well, I'm going to go 52-10. I'm going to go 52-10.
That's solid. That's solid, bro. I just
52-10.
truly think when I studied Buffalo, no explosives, only three explosives on the three explosives were passes.
Yeah.
I just don't see them being able to just run the ball. They had 210 rushing yards, just handing it off 4 yards here, 4 yards. Missouri's not having that, bro. I feel like we're gonna shut that down, and we'll be able to capitalize when they try to take it over the top with their dual threat quarterback.
I'm gonna bring the score down for Mizzou a little bit. I'm not gonna go into the four. I'm gonna give us 38, only because of what you mentioned, Spoon, about Buffalo and trying to run the ball so much. I don't think it's gonna be as high of a scoring game. I think hopefully the explosives do work in our favor, and we hit them over the top a couple times, right? But
Hmm.
it's going to be a methodical game for defense, and I'm expecting a missed tackle here or there, one or two more first downs for Buffalo than Murray State got, so that we're not just offense, you back up, come score again. I don't think it's going to be as fast. I would love it if it is. So I'll go. I'm gonna go 38 nothing, 38-0.
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
what you
fair.
guys? How'd you guys feel about Coach Drink as far as how he handled things? Clock management. Just like you said, with the amount of plays the players play. You think it was a good performance from Coach Drink
Listen,
overall?
go ahead. Right.
So I've already expressed my gripe, and not even a gripe. I'm more protective. I'm more cautious. After I saw what I saw in the first half, I'm thinking that's enough. Come back, take your shoulder pads off. That's the only change that I would make, but that's also probably more so my personality. And I've never head coached any team, so that's me.
I love what he did right before half. I love not settling for the field goal. I
Mm.
love taking the chances to go score that touchdown. What they do, they use Brady in the run game to do it. Like
Love it.
I like man,
Yeah,
that's for me. Like that's what it's all about. I'm aggressive. Man, I
that
think
is
I went
aggressive.
for it 6 times on fourth down this past week. Like it got five of them. Like that's just
Let's
Go
hey,
go.
for it.
Let's
Hey,
go.
I'm
I
going.
love that. I think for me, I thought he did a great job. It was one time I think they took the clock down, called a timeout. I thought it was weird. But
Uh,
other than that, I just want to see Brady Cook run the ball a little more because man, he had an 18-yard run. I think that might have been the second or third explosive run that we had out of the few that we did have. I would love to see him get out on the perimeter a little bit more, as long as he continues to be smart with it. I don't want him to go in there and
Yeah,
put his head
yeah,
down and try to be the hero, but I love the way he moves. He kind of sneaks up on you, man. You think, oh, he's just
crazy.
gonna be in the pocket,
Sneaky athlete.
and he's
Sneaky
out of
athlete.
there, bro. So I'm definitely excited about what Cook has to offer for the Tigers. And Drink, they look pretty good week one. We're gonna see what's going on, man.
go week two. All right, man. Once again, brought to you by the Players Lounge, man. True Sons. It's been an awesome show. Looking forward to next week, man. Looking forward to covering Mizzou all year and hoping for great things, man. Wrap it up later on.